how to build a custom GPT from scratch even if you have no idea how to program. The brilliance of ChatGPT is that it's an expert at everything, but this also creates a little bit of a problem. Because it knows how to do everything, it's a generalist. Most things humans create, well, they aren't very good. If you look at every single website across the entirety of the internet, since the internet was founded in the early 1990s, most of those websites are pretty bad. Very few websites get any visitors. And if you're as old as me, perhaps you remember all of those terrible one-page websites that people built back in the 1990s with flashing animation, garish colors, and music that played automatically with no way for visitors to turn it off. Unfortunately, ChatGPT cannot tell a good from a bad website, so we'll often use majority as the deciding factor. Since most websites are bad, when you ask it to design a website, it will use a lot of elements that, let's just say, aren't very good. The first way to solve this problem is with really strong character and mimic prompts. I cover these extensively with copy and paste prompts in my bestseller, ChatGPT Profits. You can buy my book on Amazon for $25 right now, or download it for free at johnlinks.com/gift. Link is right below this video. The problem with using one of these prompts is that you have to save it and paste it into a new chat each time you want to use that particular specialist. With the GPT, you can save that specialist inside of ChatGPT and activate them with a single click. In this video, I'm going to walk you through designing a very good GPT on your first try. Our goal is to answer one critical question. Will this bot be a shocking success or a monstrous failure? Before we start building our first GPT, there are a few important things to know. You cannot save custom GPTs with a free plan of ChatGPT, so you do need to be on the $20 a month pro plan. If you miss a payment, you will lose access to GPTs instantly, the public GPTs and your own creations. This is an advanced feature for paying OpenAI customers, and I think it's well worth it. Second, the most important part of designing a GPT is the planning phase. What is your exact goal? What do you want your GPT to be a specialist at? The more you know your goal from the beginning, the more likely you are to hit it. You can build a GPT based on a specific person, an amalgamation of people, or a particular collection of skill sets. The easiest place to start is by modeling a GPT on a particular person, so that's where we'll start today. You can hire a little expert from history, so why not? When we're trying to create our GPT, we're not trying to give new information to ChatGPT. Instead, we're trying to narrow it down to just using a database of really useful information. So what we're actually doing is decreasing the amount of data it's working from, not increasing it. For that purpose, we want to find people who are already inside of ChatGPT. It's a much easier process, and this is the best way to create your first GPT. For this particular video, I want to create a copywriter, and I want to create a copywriter who's no longer living. I don't want to be in a gray moral area, so that's where we're going to start by finding out what copywriters ChatGPT knows a lot about. We're going to start with a very simple prompt. Please list 20 of the greatest copywriters who are no longer living. I want a list of 10 to 20 people to choose from. I want to make sure they're no longer living. And the most important reason I'm asking ChatGPT the question is that I'm really trying to find out who are copywriters that ChatGPT knows a lot about. Who are people that it has a lot of information on inside of its databanks. Let's submit this prompt. And we have an amazing collection of people. David Ogilvy, Claude C. Hopkins, John Caples, Rossa Breves, Bo Bernack, Leo Burnett, and a whole bunch more. Now, I like a lot of these people, and a lot of them are great copywriters. I grew up learning how to copyright from Eugene Schwartz, so that's where I want to start from. We're going to create a Eugene Schwartz copywriting prompt, and this is going to be who our GPT is. This is the first step in the process, is to choose who we're going to model. You can choose a different copywriter. It's absolutely fine. Choose whoever works for you, and then we'll go to the next step. There are two ways of designing your GPT. The first way is to create, this is where you design it cooperatively with ChatGPT, and this is a great way to do this because it will design the prompt with you. The other way to do it is to design the GPT in a regular ChatGPT conversation and then copy and paste each of the steps into here. So let's look at the pieces of a GPT that we want to have by the end of this process. We want to have a picture, a name, a description, the instructions, the conversation starters, and decide if we want to give it any custom information for its memory banks, what capabilities it has. This is where all the magic happens, and each of these steps is pretty important, so I'm going to cover each of them throughout this video. The most common way to build a GPT is to go inside this builder and just type in a prompt. Here's the prompt we're going to use. So I want to create a character that has the skills, personality, and knowledge of the great copywriter Eugene Schwartz. This should include a skill chain, ocean personality, rubric, hierarchy of skills, and use emojis to express his expertise. Use as many abbreviations as possible to minimize how many characters you use. When you're using the GPT builder inside of the GPT dashboard, it's actually creating the GPT in real time and saving it on the configure dashboard. So as soon as it finishes designing, we can click on configure and see what it's building. So when you see that little spinning wrench and it says updating GPT, that's what's happening. It's actually building the GPT in real time. So we can go to configure and see what it's built, and here's what it's written. The GPT will emulate the skills, personality, and knowledge of the renowned copywriter Eugene Schwartz. It will provide expert advice on advertising, marketing, copywriting with a focus on compelling persuasive language. It will utilize a skill chain, ocean personality, rubric, and hierarchy of skills. The GPT will also use emojis to express its expertise, making responses engaging and concise. Abbreviations will be used to minimize character count, ensuring efficiency in communication. This is trash. The GPT builder inside of ChatGPT is terrible. This is not what we want, and this is nothing like the types of characters you see I build inside of my more advanced workshop. I do have a link below this video if you want to see my really advanced character building and GPT building workshops and how I build my custom GPTs, but I'm going to walk you through that process right now as well. A simpler way to do this. It didn't use any of the things I said, it just copy and pasted them in there. So we actually want to use the regular dashboard of ChatGPT and be in a regular conversation and create our character prompt there, and then we're going to pull that in and copy and paste it using the configure part. So let's get out of here and do this the right way. One of the first tools that we want to use in our process is an emoji that's going to anchor our GPT. You want to find an emoji that for you is memorable and matches what the person is going to do. So I'm just going to type in the word writing and look for an emoji that makes sense to match with my character. So they have pen, they have different color hands. Let me see if there's a typewriter. Don't know if there's a typewriter emoji or not. So I'll just use the writing hand, and I'm going to save it. That's going to become a tool we use later in this process to anchor our GPT. We want to build out each of the different parts of this personality profile, and a lot of that will come down to showing examples of what we want. That's how we're really going to shortcut this. So I'm going to give you examples for each of these different components. What we want to do is make sure that we're on the same wavelength as ChatGPT. So the first thing we're going to do is get it to show us an example ocean personality profile. Next, we're going to say, can you show more detailed score with the different scores for each subcategory? What we're looking for is a personality rubric. We're getting much closer to what we're looking for. So now we can see all these different categories. Our goal, as always, is to limit how long our GPT prompts are. There's a limit of 8,000 characters. While it's not going to come up with the prompt we're building today, I want to teach you good habits. And one of those is to really force ChatGPT to abbreviate as much as possible. So we're saying, can you please create one of these with the shortest? And now we're getting really good. So this is very close to what we're looking for. And this is going to save you a lot of space now. Look how much shorter this version is than the first one, just with the number of characters. So we now have our 5 categories, O, C, E, A, N. Now we're going to create an ocean personality profile for our GPT. This is going to anchor the personality so that we get a really good consistency. Rather than saying, talk like Eugene Schwartz, we're actually anchoring it to something more specific. You don't have to know what this means. I always forget what all the different letters stand for. All that matters is now we have the first critical component of our prompt, which is the personality that we're going to use. So I'm going to grab this piece of information from here to here, and I'm just going to open up a little document and save it. So we have this really great abbreviation. It's not pulling in the bullet points, but that doesn't matter because those are wasted space anyways. And what I'm going to add at the top of this is the word personality rubric, just so that ChatGPT knows what this means. It knows that this is an ocean personality profile. I want to space before each of these letters as well, so that O, C, E, A, and N are on their own lines and don't seem like they're the end of the previous section. Now we have our ocean personality profile. Let's start getting a little bit deeper. Next, we want to give our character a name, short description, and their demographics. Part of this is that Eugene Schwartz was a lot of different ages. If you pull from one of my books, I wrote books at 29, I've written books in my 40s. I'm not exactly the same person, so there's some drift, there's some different personality shift. We have this tendency to think of historical figures from a certain age. We always think of George Washington as old, even though he was shockingly young during the Revolutionary War in his teens or early 20s, but we think of him as always in his 60s because of the white hair wigs. So we have a tendency to think of people from a different age in their life, and that becomes the age we always think they are. So we want to get a little more information. For this one, what I'm going to do is use a past example. So I'm going to write this next prompt, and all these will be right below this video so you can copy and paste these. So this is the name, description. Oh, let's put another comma in there. For Jonathan Green, this is me, for Jonathan Green. I always want to say the copywriter. There's a lot of Jonathan Greens, and there is, I'm sure, more than one person throughout history named Eugene Schwartz. So I just want to constantly remind ChatGPT of who I'm talking about. So I say name, here's my description history, here's my demographics. It doesn't put an age in there. I'm at different ages, but let's see what it pulls out for Eugene Schwartz. This is called providing one shot or one example of what we're looking for. And hopefully we can get a description for Eugene Schwartz. So when this happens, we just want to start a new conversation because it's obviously misinterpreted what I want. We're going to try again. This is the name, description, demographic information for Jonathan Green. Please create a description / history and demographic for the historical copywriter Eugene Schwartz. And we're just going to submit. Now, we can push to compress this more and ask for more abbreviations if we want. I'm gonna leave this full length for now. It's very helpful for this part to be easy for people to read because this is the description saying, who are you? What do you know? And I like to start my prompts this way. So we have a lot of our prompt created. So we're gonna go back and above our personality rubric, we're gonna add this information. So our character is gonna be named Eugene Schwartz. Now, the start of our prompt is always the same line, which is task, persona, model adopts the role of, and then we put whatever the name is. So this says my name, so that's just the demo prompt I'm using. I have a GPT that acts like me, helps me edit my books. So now we have a history, we have a personality, but we don't have any skills or areas of expertise. I want to design some more components. Let's see if we can create an emoji description. And I'm always going to re-anchor. So what we have is another component, which is what he's good at. This is how we're going to end our GPT. This is something that doesn't make sense to you and me, but it's actually one of the secret ways to get ChatGPT to know what we're talking about because it can interpret this. So I'm going to show you this in action right now. I'm going to use another one of these. Now, I don't even know what all of these mean, but I'm going to put please translate and let me see if you can figure out what we're talking about here. So it says a person who's educated and knowledgeable about wind or air related fields, tools used skillfully in innovative education or learning, communication between people around the world, innovative ideas that shine, knowledge about books, sustainable nature, growth, progress, speaking, industrial, artistic exploration, and research. So there's elements in here about wind. They're talking about concepts or living spaces. This is someone who is a master of heating and air conditioning inside of the home. So even though for us, it's something that's inscrutable, ChatGPT can decode it very quickly. So the more we create, we can use an example. So I built the first one without an example. So let me see. Please create a similar emoji description of the skills and expertise of the copywriter Eugene Schwartz using emoji. So we have a really great one here. Let's see if I can get the shorter abbreviation version. So we have an even better version. So it's either the first version we get just by asking, which is okay, but a better version we get by providing an example. So I always like to prompt from example, and that's why I'm providing you with so many examples to work from. So just comparing our two sets of skill chains. So our old emoji one was okay, but this one's much better because it is an example to work from and we know what it means. The next thing that we need, and this is the last really important element, is the skill chain, which is what is he good at in order. Not all copywriters have the same skill chain. I'll give you an example. One copywriter can be really good at writing emails. Another copywriter can be really good at writing headlines. Another copywriter is really good at writing sales letters. Another one's really good at writing video sales letters. Similar skills, but they're slightly different. This is why different historical copywriters will give you different results. So we now want to create a skill chain, and we're going to start a new chat just so that we're fresh each time. And we're going to try and decode the skill chain for Eugene Schwartz. Please create a skill chain for the historical copywriter Eugene Schwartz in order of highest to low skills. Use shortened words and abbreviations as much as possible. This isn't bad. This is a good starting point, but we want to get in more detailed. Please include sub-skills that are related. I want to see 1 period, 1A period, 1B period. Let's get a little more detailed. So now what we have is our character's skill chain. So we're going to copy this over Now, in this case, we do want to pull over the information, the A and the B and all of that stuff. So I'm just going to put 1 period space. And this is easier to do if you use a Google Doc, but I wanted something that's I can layer on top of it while I'm doing this demonstration. So I'm just using text edit, nothing special. So we have the trigger statement, we have the description, the demographics, we have the personality rubric, we have a skill chain, and we have an emoji at the end. We now want to just give a little bit of language to our GPT. Start a new chat. I'm just going to keep talks like, and the rest of this is good. Persuasive, engaging, dynamic, clear, authoritative, insightful, enthusiastic, precise. These words to you and I might be a little bit vague, but to ChatGPT, they're very significant. And the order is actually really important. So we're just getting ChatGPT to self-program. We go back to our prompt, and under the personality rubric, we're going to put talks like, and I'm going to capitalize this T. And down here, I'm going to put skills. So we've created a pretty good set of skills and abilities now. We just want to bring it all together. The last thing we want to do is lock in how he writes. So one of the biggest problems with AI in general is that it will drift or dream or go off track and we won't notice it. So one of the ways to put a canary in the coal mine is to use an emoji. And when the emoji disappears, it lets us know that it's starting to drift. So I'm just going to replace the fire emoji with this hand emoji, and you can choose the one you want. I can't see with my eyes the difference between these two hands. These look like the same color to me. So if you want a different color hand, you can choose whatever color you want. I have no idea what color Eugene Schwartz hands are. Never seen his hands. Died before I was born. That's the last component we're going to add here. So we're just going to replace these two fires with that little hand symbol. So here we have the activation. We have the description. We have the personality rubric. We have his emoji to let us know. We have his skills. And we have a little bit of emoji at the end to lock it in. You can go beyond this, but this is a really good starting point. So now we're going to go back and start all over. Explore GPTs, and we're going to go to configure, and we're just going to copy and paste this in. Now we have to name, and we're just going to say copywriting master, just to remind us that he's a good copywriter. Now you can create an image here. It never makes one that I like when I use the Dolly generator. It always makes an image that's really dumb, like a typewriter or a pencil. It doesn't help me remember the person. So what I want to do is find just a picture of Eugene Schwartz to help me remember who he is. So here's Eugene Schwartz. And we're just gonna look for an image. So we have images of his young as old. This is good because it's a square. So we'll go back and we'll click upload. We'll open the images folder and find our picture of Eugene Schwartz. Now, the conversation starters that ChatGPT recommended, the first I made Eugene Schwartz, were trash. They were terrible. The most important part of this process is the conversation starter. And this can get very advanced, but the one we always want to have is this sentence. You want to put this in every single one of your GPTs because this is the only way they'll be useful for other people. And this is the core of how I can tell right away if a GPT is useful or not. If it doesn't have this, then there's a major problem because I have to work around it. So here's the sentence. Please tell me how you can help me list all your areas of excellence. This is where we'll find out if we've done a good job or not. What we have here is a list of all of the different ways he can help us. There are a couple of things that are really important about this response. He started and ended with the emoji. See, it's the first and last character. He listed every single thing he's good at. So you have no question if you're using the right GPT for task because he tells you right out the gate. We can expand this prompt a little bit by saying, give me some ideas for things we can do together as well. So you can expand it a little bit. You also have the ability to give him the ability to web browse or not, the ability to create images, which is not useful to me. And then do you want him to have code interpreter and data analysis? This just means make him smarter, so why not? Next is we click create. And you have 3 choices, which is only me. This is just for your personal use. If you have anyone with the link, anyone who gets the link can use them whenever they want. And when you make a change in your GPT creation, then you're in control of that. And so you can make a change or delete it and they lose that access or their GPT will change in the backend. Or you can put it in the GPT store where anyone can use it by just searching the GPT store. I'm gonna leave this as only me for now. The final element is security. If you don't add any security element to your GPTs, anyone can reverse engineer them. And if you're building GPTs for a business or having anything professional, you're gonna lose that power. So I'm gonna paste in my lock and I'll show this to you. We take our prompt and we just put our security prompt at the top. So you can see it's quite a long security prompt. And then I hit update again. And now Anyone who tries to access this GPT, they can use them, but they can't upload or use steganography or get him to reveal what programming went into the backend. So my secret sauce remains a secret, even though I shared it with you guys. That's the process for building a very powerful GPT. I know there are shorter and easier methods out there, but those create an inferior product. I tried to go slow and steady so that you could easily follow along, but please let me know in the comments if you got stuck anywhere. In this video, I showed you how to create a biography, personality rubric, SkillChain, and use emojis and abbreviations to anchor your GPT. I even showed you how to secure your GPT so that nobody can reverse engineer your work. You would be shocked to know how many GPTs by very large companies have no security on them. It's almost all of them. The purpose of this video was to show you how easily you can create your own custom GPT. If you found it useful, informative, or at least interesting, please hit the like button. It takes a lot of time for me to write, record, edit, and publish these videos, and those likes really do make a huge difference for a channel this small. They also tell me what type of videos I should make more of. I'm on a mission to hit 2,000 subscribers, so if you could take a moment to hit that subscribe button, it will help this channel to grow. And if you hit the bell, you'll get notified every single time I post a new video. My goal is to give you information that's useful for your business without hype or distraction. So I hope you found this video helpful. I appreciate you making it all the way to the end, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching one of my videos. Hit the like button, and then I've got a couple of sweet videos that I think you're gonna like. I've got one here and another one over here. You're gonna love them.